Hey guys, Coach Dan here. Today's video is day number 2 of a mini cut for me, and we're going to train lower body as well. So the thing to keep in mind surrounding weight loss and fat loss is that the initial phases are usually pretty rapid. So if you set yourself a little bit of a calorie deficit or even a significant calorie deficit, what you'll notice initially is a significant drop in weight, because you'll notice, or you don't notice these things, but you drop some water and there's also less food in your gut. So if I went from eating over 3,000 calories to a bit over 2,000 calories, now there's less food in me and there's less water in me. So there's a big drop in weight. So for example, day 1 from mini cut went from 85 kgs to 84 kgs, so 1 kg weight loss. Now, what people then expect going forward is that they will continue to lose weight at that rate, but it's not the case. It will continue to happen that way, and then I'll find what actual deficit that has me in. So maybe tomorrow there'll be another big drop, there'll be another big drop, and then it'll start to steady out to the actual rate of weight loss in 1 to 2 weeks. So that's the important thing to keep in mind. It's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's that rapid weight loss you had at the beginning is due to a little bit of water and a little bit of food that's not in your gut, and probably a whole range of other stuff. So keep that in mind. It starts off rapid, it slows down, but it's not nothing. It's just that you can't expect, well, you probably shouldn't expect to lose 1 kilo a week forever, or 1 kilo in a day, should I say. So it was only a day. So mini cut, day 1 down. Day 2, we've got a lower body workout coming up, hack squats. I'm feeling good. It's only 1 day, so you would hope so. And yeah, keep that in mind. Weight loss is not always linear, it's not always smooth. Your body's a very complex thing. Water changes, food changes, other storage changes and whatnot. So, all right, let's hit this hack squat. I want a good workout today. Let's go. All right, hack squat first. So this hack squat I started on last week, and again, this is a new gym to me, so we have to kind of figure out the weight. Machines are always a little bit different weight, a different friction, whatever it might be. So I've had to figure out what weight I'm going to use. Sort of figured that out last week, kind of generally know where I am. But the technique cues for the hack squat are the same. Feet are set pretty low on the fat platform for me. I want to get a lot of knee flexion and make it really hard on my quads. Mostly tuck in here like this. Up, see daisies. Handles in, control the way down. Feel the quads, feel the tension in the quads. And push up with the quads as well. Nothing to it. So I'll do 1 top set here, 6 to 8. That's something I've been doing and have found, it's all right. Don't worry. And that's something I found really fun, is going for a heavy set. It's quite enjoyable to me as well. It's not absolutely necessary, but I find it fun and enjoyable, so I continue to do it. And then I do 2 sets, about 8 to 15 reps, followed with the 4th set as a drop set from one of those sets. So top set 6 to 8, another 8 to 15, another 8 to 15. Immediately after that, drop the weight for another set after that, whatever I can get out. So brutal squats coming up. I want this to be a good workout though. Getting in the zone. Here we go. hack squat done. Excellent, that's how to start shit off. Oof. So first set, heavy, went well. That's up on last week. Last week was the first time I used this machine, so good to get used to it. And now, gains incoming. Or last drop set, that's brutal. So heavy set, a little bit of lighter weight. For a second set, third set, same weight as that second. And then fourth set is a drop set. So I took a plate off per side. Just tried to go nice and close to failure, pretty much all sets. So took a plate off each side, that acted as some form of rest. And then finished off there. So, oh man, that's how to start shit off. All right, that sets us up good for the rest of the workout. Let's move on. Quads are pumped up. All right, next on the agenda, we have a hip thrust machine. This one by Booty Builder is pretty good. I like that it's pin loaded, which means the resistance is hard at the bottom as it is at the top. So in this regard, the previous hip thrust machine that I've been doing was on like a lever. So imagine this is a lever point. Weights are stored on here, so it's on this hinge. So it actually gets easier as it gets down here and then harder as it gets up here. Now for muscle growth, that's potentially the opposite of what we want. We want it hard in the stretch position and then probably easier at the top. Maybe, probably, you know, like, not probably, right? Potentially. So that is just something to keep in mind, is that when things are hard at the stretch position, it's probably a good thing, potentially a good thing for muscle growth. I'll start using my words a little bit better. This one here, pin loaded, which means it's equally hard throughout. We set the feet, there's a seat belt, and then we essentially thrust up, just kind of figuring out where my foot position should go. But I think this will be good. I'll do, I think, a 10 to 20 rep range here, and just again, smash out the glutes. So this is one of my isolated or more isolated glute movements. Hack squat uses your glutes. Some of the other stuff uses the glutes, but this is mostly about the glutes. All right, let me find my weight, and then we're going on to set one. All right, so that is the Booty Builder hip thrust machine. A potential downside to hip thrusts that people do not consider is that a lack of range of motion. Your hips do not flex very far. Again, that might not be a massive deal if you're doing other exercises that do that job. So split squats, squat variations, things like that. So essentially when you go to hip thrust here, my hips only flex yay amount. And my hip extensors essentially would be able to take from there through to full extension. So we're not essentially going through a full range for the hip. That is a potential downside, but what I do like about it, it doesn't load the spine. You don't have to hold heavy dumbbells like a split squat or anything like that, no bar on your back, all that kind of stuff. So it's a nice targeted exercise. I still think it has its place for sure. I do about 10 to 15. I feel my butt all pumped up. Happy days. So there's no right or wrong answers there. It's just, does it work in the context for me? The answer is yes for today, because I've hack squatted already. I'm going to do a seated hamstring curl. This one makes sense for me in this program. So, you know, not the be all and end all. If you can't hip thrust machine, barbell hip thrust split squats, there are some other great glute exercises out there. All right, speaking of seated hamstring curl, let's go. Okay, seated hamstring curl. Let's try this for the first time last week. Very nice. So considerations for the hamstring curl. Again, you've got this one here, which has this leg pad that locks your legs into place. One I have been using more recently doesn't have that. That is pretty sweet. Then we want to set the seat height or the seat depth far enough that where the back of my ankle is on the further pad there. So if your seat was too far that way, it would kind of be up your leg. Probably not ideal. If you're too that far that way, you're kind of on the heels and it's probably going to be pretty hard to get some leverage. So we adjust those things such that here, this locks just above my knee. Otherwise, if it's on my knee, it'll hurt me from, or hinder me from flexing. That's on the back of the ankle. Yeah, that's about right. That's the simplistic way to put it. And same again, we're here, heels down towards your butt, control the way up, feel the hamstring stretch, heel down. So this here, locked in tight, so you're really stable and you can just go to town. That on the back of the ankle. Once you're set, you just grip it and rip it and you go for it. All right, let's move it on. And by let's move it on, let's find the weight that we're going to be working with today. I did it for the first time last week, so I'll get out my log and see what weight I did. Let's get it. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. Seated hamstring curl, that's nice. So, yeah, key point is there, get this bad boy, if you have one, locked onto your leg hard so I can just go to town. If there's any movement or anything like that, there's some potential wasted energy, set the seat such that the back of that ends up, or the top of the bottom of that ends up at the back of your ankle, not too far up your shin, and certainly not so far away that you have to like slip on it with your heel and stuff like that. So, being the second time I've ever used it, I didn't really know what my setup is. So now that I know, I'll simply note down in my program what seat position and stuff like that. So it'll be easy next time, get a little bit quicker. All right, check out this leg extension coming up. It is a torture machine. Let's go. All right, check out this contraption of a leg press. So like a torture device, like I said. Now, big reason, there's another one of these upstairs. There's a plate loaded one over there, but I'm choosing this one because of how far my knee gets flexed under here. So we get a large range of motion, big stretch through the quads. So we tuck in here like such, and yeah, they don't make them like this anymore. This amount of knee flexion is significant. Don't know what angle that is, but usually like leg extensions might stop over here. In times gone by, I've put yoga blocks there to kind of increase the range, but not too much consideration for a leg extension. Again, extend the knee hard, control the way down, keep the tension in the quads, and repeat. Look at this beast. So I'm only doing 2 sets. I do a high rep range here because I've already done some low reps on the hack squat. Just because it feels good. Always leg extension for high reps for me. Joints feel good, all that kind of stuff. Muscles feel like they get smashed. So I usually do moderate to high reps. 10 to 20 reps is pretty normal on a leg extension. But if you like below and it feels okay for you, that is cool. If you like above, that is also cool. We just got to make sure we get in there and try hard, right? Okay, let's go to set 1. Brutal leg extension machine. So leg extension or exercises where we open up the hip and then we extend the knee are essentially, oh, that's hard even to set body weight, are essentially, they're not, you know, the be all and end all, but there's a particular muscle of your quad that is not only a knee extender, but a hip flexor. So when doing things, it's called the rectus femoris. So when doing things like squats, leg presses, etc., at one joint, it's able to help. So it helps straighten the knee, but at the other joint, we're also extending the hip. So we're doing its opposite job. So it's one job and you're doing the opposite job here. So they almost counteract each other. So in that sense, things where we sit here and extend the knee and try and open up the hip are going to be more suited towards training the rectus femoris. And that's directly supported by some research where they've compared leg extension to compound movements, and they find that leg extension and the such are better for the rectus femoris growth. So there are other things like reverse Nordics, which I have done from time to time, and some other things, but this is quite a good machine. Cranks my legs all the way back this way for lots of knee flexion, which is good for stretching the quads out, which again should be good for muscle growth. Lean back into it, open up that hip a little bit and just go to town. So that was really good and that felt quite good, effective. This machine feels nice, so we will roll with that one. All right, so I think we're going back upstairs for a bit of calves and abs. See you up there. Oh, hey there. Donkey calf raise next. So you don't see these all too often, but in place of this, any kind of straight-legged calf raise will do. Smith machine leg press, blah, blah, blah. We've got this here, so I'm going to use it. So it's going to be half the foot on the platform here, half the foot off, raising onto the toes. I like it. It's almost like lying down, and that feels, I'm a big fan of lying down. Big stretch out those calves, get them jacked up, raise right up. And then when you're done, set it down. So yeah, any variation here where the leg is straight, could be body weight, could be single leg, could be Smith machine, could be leg press, big stretch, straight knee. That would be appropriate in this situation here. I'm going to do 5 sets. This is my only calf exercise, so 5 sets. Bing, bang, bang, bong, bong, smash them out. Get the jacked up calves. I actually might superset this with my abs. That's what I was going to do because it's just over there, so it's nice and efficient. So we'll go from this to that as a superset, and that will save me a little bit of my life, which I'm all about. All right, I'll show you the GHD leg raise. That's what I'm going to do for abs. All right, GHD leg raise. So I actually had this in my other lower body workout, but it makes sense because the calf machine is 5 meters away. So I can do this as a superset really easy. The other GHD I did, or the other calf exercise I did, is downstairs. So this is an efficient way to do some exercise, a superset. So they're working different muscles. I save a bit of time, do that, maybe I'll mark down my reps, walk over here, do this, mark down the reps, and just go back and forth. It acts as a rest for my abs over there, and this acts as a rest for my calves. And systemically, they don't tire you out too much. So you get to the end of a hard calf set, you're not breathing heavy, you know, stuff like that. Your calves might feel jacked up, but everything else is pretty sweet. So GHD leg raise with a superset with that calf raise, donkey calves. So essentially I'm using the GHD, you could do this on the ground, but I like this because it kind of naturally aligns with the lower back curve or the lumbar curve. So I'll kind of line up my lower back on there, grab the handle, and then we're going leg raise. So this one here, what you want to be thinking about is not just raising the legs, it's more like tipping the pelvis all the way up like that. So you think about what our rectus abdominis does, or the six-pack muscles, they essentially pull the top of your pelvis up towards your sternum, and the opposite, so the sternum down towards the pelvis. So when you do a crunch or something like that, that's what you're pulling. Now to do the opposition of that, we want to open that up and stretch that out, and that's what this is going to help me do. If it was on the ground, it might be just a lot more hip flexion extension. Here, it helps me extend and flex the lumbar curve. So this makes it a little bit more abby, I feel. I also have been known to do some sit-ups on here as well. I've been known to do a lot of things, if you know what I'm saying. All right, we are going 5 sets here, back to back to back to back to back. And again, just walking from one to the next. This is the only calf exercise, only ab exercise for the day. 5 on this day, 5 on my other lower body day, accumulating 10 throughout the week. And again, that seems to be a good amount for me. All right, donkey calves first, and then we'll roll through the superset. All right, that is my abs and calves superset. So you probably can't see in the background, or maybe you can. The donkey calf is over here somewhere, the donkey calf raise. I walk along here, over here, do my GHD leg raises, and jot down my reps that I did. Or if I change weight or whatever it might be, walk back, but. Time saver. Now this is a strategy that can also be used for things like curls, tricep push downs. If you are doing an upper body workout and you need to save a little bit of time, you can go curls, push downs. In some respects, you could do bench press rows. The heavier the movements get, the less inclined I am to do that, just because generally fatigue overall might affect the second movement. So like a massive example would be like I do stiff-legged deadlifts on a Friday. If I tried to do that and then go and bench press or do something upper body, not that my program is that way inclined, no chance. Like the stiff-legged deadlift fucks me up so badly, the second exercise will be a write-off. So it can be done for maybe isolation exercises, smaller muscles. Those are just a couple of general rules, but you just have to practice. Like maybe you can bench and row, save yourself a stack of time from resting between them, and kind of use the other as the other's rest. So, but yeah, this saves a bit of time for me. They don't affect each other too much. Happy days. Calves feel fucked up. One thing, I am a massive pussy at training abs. I am not used to that sensation. I'll have to get better at that. I think I'm well shy of failure when training abs, so I'll have to get better there. All right, let's get out of here. That's nice. Good workout. No one in the gym here. Midday session. Happy days. Let's go get some food on board, eh? Okay, that is a wrap on the workout, guys, as the truck drives by. Great timing. Good workout, day 2 of my mini cut. Feeling good. That should be the case 2 days in. So yeah, keep in mind if you're on a fat loss diet, sometimes the weight loss at the beginning is larger than it will be throughout because you lose some water, you lose some food that you don't have as much food in you because you're not eating as much food. So the weight of the food itself, water, storage of some other stuff like glycogen's all going down. So weight might kind of take this steep downward turn and then it will plateau out, and you kind of actually, after about 1 to 2 weeks, figure out how much your weight loss actually is and how much of a deficit you're in. So yeah, from Monday to this morning, my weight went down 1 kilogram. It's pretty significant. Maybe again, tomorrow morning, it will be another significant drop. But eventually that'll start to plateau out because I'm not in that much of a deficit and I'm not losing that much fat. So I kind of know logically that's not what's happening. It's not fat loss necessarily. Bit of water, bit of food, bit of some other stored stuff is going, and eventually 1 to 2 weeks I'll find that kind of actually what my deficit is at and what my weight loss will be. So the thing about a mini cut is it's only lasting a couple of weeks, so you kind of have to have a good idea and kind of shoot for something you are somewhat confident in, because different from a regular cut, it's much shorter in duration, so you kind of you might have to just shoot for what you think and hope for the best in some circumstances, but then when you get more experience at it, you kind of have a better gauge on it. But training still has to be hard. We still have to get in here and train hard, even though we're not getting all the food we did, because we don't want any muscle loss because we are not giving ourselves that much food. So we still got to train hard, even though at some stages during a cut, it doesn't feel as easy. All right, time to get out. So remember, as always, guys, if you like the content, you're liking these new workout videos at this new gym, remember to hit my little face up here, my little handsome picture, as my wife says, but nobody else, to subscribe. Hit this playlist here for all other workouts that I'm doing so you can check in on the other muscle groups and how I'm training them. And as always, remember, it's about progress over perfection. Coach Dan, signing off.